We're previewing Manchester United against Liverpool as well as the other 9 Premier League fixtures this weekend. We had to get Paul Machin of the Redmen TV and myself, Adam McKola, in on this show. Manchester United against Liverpool. We don't need any Leeds fans here or anything like that. We just need us two to thrash it out. This video is sponsored by The Athletic, the place for the best coverage of your club with a world-class team of writers, including David Ornstein, Andy Mitten and James Pearce. If you visit theathletic.co.uk/Squawka to start a 7-day free trial, you'll also receive 50% off your yearly subscription, which works out at just £2.50 per month. It's an absolute bargain. Great articles all over The Athletic. I'm on it myself as well, and I'm sure Paul is, and I get on it every morning, to be fair. But anyway, let's get stuck into this. Manchester United, Liverpool. Manchester United are 12th in the league after 8 Premier League games. It's all negative at the moment. So let's start with Mr. Smug over here, Paul Machin. And let's talk about Liverpool, because obviously Liverpool are in a very good place right now. And I'm going to try and take myself of this bitter Manchester United fan role and try and be a little bit more neutral right now, if that's possible.
All the best.
Paul, have you ever gone into a game at Old Trafford with such confidence?
No, I think no's the simple answer on that one. Liverpool have never been this good in the time that I've really followed Liverpool, and that's the simple reason why. And to be fair, Man United have never been this bad in the time that I've supported Liverpool as well. So it's the perfect storm of possibility for the Reds going into Old Trafford. And let's be fair, we have a terrible record there. We really genuinely do, and the wins stand out in the memory because they are so few and far between, and they also tend to be quite nice wins at the time as well. No, it's mad. It's a very unusual feeling going into this one. It's not like it might be construed as arrogance or overconfidence or whatever, but look, Liverpool got the 100% start to the season so far. It's about being in a good place. We're in the best place you can be so far. And as I said, because of the struggles that United have had, I can't help but think that I don't think Liverpool will have it all their own way by any stretch, but it's certainly the best chance we've had in a long time.
There is the old saying that form goes out of the window in these games. And I remember playing against, like you mentioned, some of the victories that you had at Old Trafford. I remember Danny Murphy coming to Old Trafford twice and scoring in 1-0 wins. And, you know, Liverpool sides that weren't great, beating Manchester United when we were at a very strong position. So, like I say, form does go out of the window because you'll see often teams will step up just for this game and because of the importance of it.
Yeah, I think the interesting thing on that, because you are right, and Liverpool have a way of doing that, but I think in the instances where we talk about the ones that stand out for me, you're talking about 2000, 2001, Liverpool were a young side on the ascendancy there, went on and won the treble that season. 08, 09, obviously the famous game with Torres, Gerrard, Andrea Dossena, Lobs. We finished second to you guys in the league that season, and then I think 13, 14, we beat you 3-0 there as well. Another season where we were challenging.
I wiped out my memories.
Yeah, so that's the thing, is that Liverpool, that's the difference. And you're not wrong, the form book does go out the window and the atmosphere is going to be unbelievable. I think similar to what it was last season, because that's what Liverpool's been like for 20 years. It adds an added significance for you guys because you need this. You need this because and that's where it becomes a bit more venomous.
And I think you mentioned that 13-14 defeat United had when we lost 3-0 against Liverpool in the Moyes era. And I remember that victory that defeat, the victory for Liverpool. I remember that a lot because it was one of my favourite games in terms of the crowd being in the stands. There was sort of like a defiance from the Manchester United fans that day. I remember Liverpool scored their third. I didn't even notice. The only way I knew was because the scoreboard changed. And you look at that and the defiance comes from the fact that we know our team can almost not stand up for us on the pitch. And I imagine it's going to be an absolutely rocking atmosphere on the weekend. And because of that, it could squeeze a little bit more of a performance out of us, which is what I'm hoping for. But use that favourites.
Well, you did exactly the same thing again last season. Your number one mission became spoiling the Premier League title chase. No, but and it sounds daft, but it's right in it. There was an extra impetus there. It's Schadenfreude. I always talk about it. This is what we've had this with you guys for ages. Liverpool haven't been great. We might lose on the weekend, but you get a little bit back if Man United lose as well. You just have that little extra glimmer just to try and straighten your weekend out a touch. But this is what we've had. Liverpool's atmospheres for years weren't great in most games. Always brilliant for Man Manchester United because we were a bit of the underdogs. You want to go and give them a bloody nose. You want to go and show them that we're still relevant, that we still matter. And you're dead right. I think that will be a massive factor in the game. You'll need that because it's a massive job. When you've got 70,000+ people who are basically behind your team, it's going to give you an impetus. It's on Liverpool to try and quiet that down.
From a Manchester United perspective, do you think, well, obviously you're not a neutral, but you're not a Manchester United fan, so you can kind of take your emotion out of it. Do you think defeat for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer will signal the end of his reign?
I don't think it will, because I think you guys, or maybe just the board, are bought into this notion of giving time. Because they like him, and I think he's, and although I think that's starting to slide a little bit because of the form and what you're seeing on the pitch in front of you, I think he should go. I don't think he's good enough to be the United manager. I don't think he ever was. I think he rode in on a crest of a wave of optimism that was needed because he was the anti-Mourinho. You guys have got yourselves entrenched into this mentality of negative football. Mourinho, is he the right fit?
I remember being with you after the defeat at Anfield, and we were sulking, and it was just depressing. And he came in and he did flip. And I think that's why he was the perfect caretaker manager.
100%.
But nothing ever. I feared giving him the job because I feared by this time in this season we'd be having this discussion. I don't want to be in that position.
And that's the problem with Solskjaer. I think he was a great interim, and he might be a great sort of barrier between the pundits, the ex-player pundits, and damaging the club with their thoughts and opinions because they like him so much until you get the next long-term quality manager in. The problem is who's going to want the job right here
and it's now. A difficult one, and I think we do need to change a lot. Like James Pearce had an article in The Athletic recently where he spoke about Michael Edwards, the Liverpool sporting director, and I often bring that up because Ed Woodward has briefed for an awfully long time, we're going to change our structure, and he is a massive issue at United. He chooses the managers, he's never held accountable, he's involved in signing of the players, he's an accountant. Let's be real, he doesn't know what he's doing. And I feel like someone coming in like that, because I read a story about Michael Edwards telling Klopp, you might not want Salah, but he is the man for you. And it's like, having that advice, having that guidance, having someone that knows they're doing what they're doing in that position.
Experts in your field, and that's the difference. And the problem is because of the Fergie era, because he was so entrenched in all aspects of the club. I used to joke, it was like everyone else was playing new school footy manager where you've got slider bars and every little tiny thing makes a massive impact, and he was still playing like Chapman on the Amiga when you just picked your formation, put some good players in and press go. Oh, you want to put a right back, right mid? Yeah, it's fine, doesn't matter, it's Alex Ferguson. But the football's moved on and United haven't caught up with all that yet. So Michael Edwards isn't like a proper football guy. He was lambasted for being a laptop man. He's more about the numbers and all that kind of stuff. But like you combine it, but you combine him with the other people, you combine him with traditional scouting, and you combine him with fitness experts, and you combine him with Klopp's eye for personality and a player and all that kind of stuff, and it works. And United just at the moment, I'm not sure what they're getting. They're getting the youth. I think they're getting the youth system right because you're producing some good.
Only
lads.
Recently, I think there's a period of time where we didn't make the right changes. I think that's a recent thing where it's changed again, and we're seeing the fruits of that. But you're never gonna have that step up from 23s to first team if we haven't got the right. Well,
the class of '92 doesn't go on to achieve what it does without the experienced heads, the top quality professionals around it.
I think playing for a different coach, you obviously bring the best out of him, and I think playing for Klopp, playing for Pep, I think you'd see a lot better. Even with the likes of Rashford, the likes of Martial, I think you'd have seen a much more bigger improvement. If Martial and Rashford are at City, I think they're doing exactly what Sterling and Sane are doing.
Yeah, I agree.
So I do think it's a case of coaching. And we mentioned before the camera came on, I don't like to pay, give credit where it's due when it comes to Liverpool. But Jurgen Klopp deserves massive credit because for me, you look like you're going to win the league. I know you probably won't want to say it at this moment in time. You've obviously learned over the years that you can't really say it too early, but I think you're going to win the league. I can see City dropping more points, and I can't see you dropping that much points for them to catch up. Oli Kay also had an interesting point in The Athletic in his recent article where he said no matter how badly the top six have done in recent years, their status has never really been affected. Mm-hmm. That could change this year. With United, I think, and obviously we're going to look at some of the latest fixtures, Not only with United, but possibly with Chelsea. When you look at Wolves, Leicester, the emergence of those kind of teams, the Premier League's so competitive.
Yeah, I think. Well, I think we've seen a break off, haven't we, this season? Whether it's born out, look, I don't want to get here to be Billy Big Balls about Liverpool or X, Y, and Z. But at the minute, it looks like you've got Man City and Liverpool, and then you've got a clutch from second down to sort of 7th or 8th, who could all be in the mix. The problem is with status. I think Ollie K's right. I don't think the status is going to change. Man United are going to remain Man United. I don't think they'll go through a 30-year barren period like Liverpool have gone for a league title, because they are too big. They're too financially well backed, to not turn it round in a relatively short space of time. But in odd seasons, as I say, with Leicester winning the league in what was that, 15-16 was it, or they won the league, or 14-15, the 15-16. But the thing is, they drop back into the pack straight off there. I could see Leicester maybe getting top 4 this year, but Man United will respond, and Chelsea will respond, and Arsenal will respond.
Outside of the Europa League spots even could be good for us. So I think having a season in the league without Europa League football, I don't mind being in Champions League playing on Wednesdays, is fine. Europa League football, if you're out of it, I think it
worked
could
for us.
work out.
It worked for us massively in Klopp's first full season. No Europe.
Defo. Something we should think of.
Yeah,
we won't have a choice.
They're going to bring that third tier, the Europa Conference.
Just
to catch
we
us.
missed that. Yeah, Europa Conference League. Here we come. Right then, on the screen right now, we have Manchester United starting 11 from that defeat against Newcastle right here behind us. Now, as we're recording this video, the latest is David De Gea may be missing this game as he limped off for Spain after 60 minutes with what looks like a hamstring issue. But in better news, United should have Martial, Lingard and Aaron Wan-Bissaka back after missing that Newcastle game. So this is the team that we had then. Rashford up top, Pereira, James, Mata, Fred McTominay, Dalot, Tuanzebe, Maguire, Young and David De Gea. I think that pretty much says it all about where we are as a team.
Was this a League Cup team? That
it was an under-23s game, actually. Somehow Young still gets in there. Now, obviously, the news that Aaron Wan-Bissaka is coming back is fantastic news for us. Victor Lindelof, for me, I'm not sure whether he gets back into this team, to be honest. I think Axel Tuanzebe has been performing well. I think Victor Lindelof has showed signs.
Was he the kid who was given the captain's arm? Against Rochdale. Well,
played against Arsenal in a fullback position, which is not his usual position. And he did well keeping Pepe quiet. So I think he might start this game.
It's interesting that Liverpool have come up against centre halves with pace and have actually blunted a little bit of what we do. Now, obviously, we'll talk about it in due course, but Salah's come up against a few centre halves who've been able to match him for legs, and it's actually hindered him a bit. So it could be
Ashley Young had a good game against Salah last time around. I know he's not been in form for a long time for United, but that was a game where he did perform quite well. But I wouldn't be surprised, because of how badly he played in that game against Newcastle, if Wan-Bissaka does come back, then we could possibly see Dalot there, or Brandon Williams coming in there in that position as well. But again, I'm not too sure on that. If we start Tuanzebe, we probably won't make that change there. And unfortunately, we might see Ashley Young start for United. If you saw that defence, how would you feel? And remember, we might also have Romero in between the sticks.
It is astounding to me that this is a Manchester United side. These are the names that you put out on the field, and because, again, I've grown up as Man United being, and galling as it is for me still to say it, the best team in the country, week in, week out, the best players, all this stuff. And I look at how Ashley Young, albeit he's probably going to have the game of his career once again against us at fullback, how he's still there playing, how he's still getting a game. The money that's spent on Harry Maguire is half decent as he is. I'm not sure he's Virgil van Dijk money.
I disagree with that. I don't know whether he's worth a world record fee. I'll be honest with that bit. But I do think he was worth us spending that money because he's ultimately brought a lot of stability. This fella here is a fantastic signing as well.
Yeah.
Obviously, along with Trent, England are spoiled in having right backs. But I think Maguire and Wan-Bissaka have come in and almost, you look at our goal scoring, I think we've only conceded 8 goals this season.
Yeah.
We're one of the best defences in the league. We're not helped by we haven't been performing at this end. Yeah. But I think Maguire and Wan-Bissaka, yes, it was a lot of money.
Yeah.
I think over the years.
No. I mean, like I say, it's a purchase you had to make, and I understand the logic. I just think that we'll know in a year. whether he was worth, because I mean, it took Virgil van Dijk, I think 3 months, and people stopped talking about how much Liverpool paid for him because you could see tangibly how good he was. Maguire might well do that, but at the minute for me, I think the jury's still out. McTominay, what he is.
McTominay usually should be a third, fourth choice.
If he was, who would he be in a Sir Alex Ferguson squad?
I think like someone that comes off the bench or plays in a cup game or Fletcher. I don't think he's as good as Fletcher, which says a lot, but I think somewhere along those lines, and I think he's someone that he keeps your levels quite high in terms of commitment, running around, doing the basics very well. He does that, and I think if Fred's performing, if Matic was 10 years younger, he doesn't start. But he does start, and we can put Pogba here.
Yeah.
But because of the fact that we've only really got 2 central midfielders that are performing, and even then.
And then you get forward. I mean, now that you've put that out, I think that's a perfectly fine from 4. But look, again, each of them has the ability to hurt us. Obviously, James has started the season really well. I really like Martial. I really like Rashford as much as he's obviously. I shouldn't, because I'm sure he wouldn't like me because he's a mank. But I think he's got so much talent. I've never really understood Lingard personally, but I know
Lingard would be great for you.
He's decent.
I think Jesse Lingard would be fantastic for a team like Man City or I don't think he'd start every game. I think he'd be a squad player, but he'd be. His passing, his movement, his energy, his pressing, everything about like his game is perfect. He creates space for others. He's been out of form and he doesn't get enough goals and assists, which in this day and age of stats, it's sorry, Dave again.
We always do stats. We're the stat guys.
It's one of those things, but I do think the way he plays football would be suited with Liverpool.
His issue is that is he a 10? If he's a 10, then he doesn't score enough goals or get enough assists. Liverpool wouldn't play a 10 anyway. So is he physical enough to play a box-to-box role? Question mark. Or he's playing in the front 3 and again doesn't score enough goals or get enough assists. He's fine. I like him. He's kind of in regards of. I don't understand him, but whenever he seems to put in decent performances. Whenever exactly. But look. I don't think there's anything there for Liverpool to fear. There's little bits and pieces, and I can craft stories around this. Scores his debut goal. Martial
One way we did get
scored against us last season.
And I remember the game where Rashford did score twice. It was when we had the aerial presence coming deep, winning the flick-ons, and then someone running in behind. And Rashford gave Trent a really difficult game that day. Obviously, Trent's come on and improved since then. But I think having an actual number 9 for us will be key for us. And if we do create chances, then of course, I think we'll look threatening. But if Martial is fit, Lingard's fit, they have to start for Manchester United this weekend. Just thought Luke Shaw could be fit, but I don't really know about that one. But like I said, if the team uses that, then we've also got to consider that David De Gea could be coming out for Sergio Romero. Right then, this is Liverpool's 11 from their 2-1 win over Leicester. The latest injury news is Alisson is set for his first game after coming off 40 minutes into the season against Norwich. As of this moment in time, it looks like Jurgen Klopp could have a full squad available, apart from Nathaniel Klein. Paul, do you expect to see a similar side to this one that you saw against Leicester, or could we see any changes?
I think the smart money is, as mentioned there, Liverpool got a fully fit thing to go with. So we will revert to the team we've largely used this season. So as much as Adrian's been, I think he's been fantastic for us as a deputy. Exceeded expectations beyond belief in what he's done for us so far. He's had a couple of little hairy moments, but no one's begrudged him that in any way, shape or form. But look, Alisson's the best goalkeeper in the world at the moment, so we get to bring him in, which is no bad thing. Dejan Lovren, I think he was given time. Matip was injured against Leicester. Joe Gomez had played the midweek game, so Lovren was given the nod in this one. I think he needed to get 90 minutes, but I think if Matip is fit, and the talk is that he will be, I think Joel Matip comes in back against a partner Van Dijk. They've been our best defensive partnership pretty much since December last year. They've been fantastic, so I would go with that. And then the obvious one, James Milner, Mr. Utility, fantastic job, scores the penalty, of course, that wins the game for us against Leicester at Anfield. But with Jordan Henderson, the captain, back fit for this, he drops straight in. Other than that, it's only going to be last-minute injuries that make a particular change to this. There's a few slight variations on a theme, and I'll be interested to get your thoughts on it, because it depends how Man United approach this game. If I've heard the rumours or the general consensus I've heard is that United will try and park the bus, or I say park the bus, will be defence first. We'll look to keep Liverpool out and play counter-attacking football.
The way if you look at the games this season where we've performed better, you'd say that Chelsea, Leicester, Wolves away, teams that generally give you a bit of space, come out for you a little bit, and those are the games where we perform. We found it difficult when we've attacked teams and they've sat back and said, all right, we're just going to soak this up. Rochdale found it incredibly easy to soak it up against us. And that's why we don't have enough in between the lines.
Yeah.
So on the counter-attack, when you look at, like we said with the team earlier, Lingard, Martial, Rashford, they're players that are more suited to playing on the counter-attack. So I could see that being a possibility. Not where it'd be defensive a la Mourinho, but maybe where we soak it up a little bit. Maybe have Jesse Lingard being really busy, just in between the lines, Marcelo Rashford holding the line, and then trying to hit you guys on the counter-attack quite quickly.
Because my thinking on this is that I think Liverpool will almost certainly start 4-3-3, but what we've seen in the last few games, we saw it against Sheffield United away from home, we saw it against Red Bull Salzburg in the Champions League, we switched to a 4-2-3-1 when we're looking to really drive it home, and what that means is you might see there's a possibility is that you go with a two-man midfield, and that's either Fabinho, Henderson, Fabinho and another, and then you put Salah to centre forward, you keep Firmino in the 9, you move Mane to the right and you put Origi on the left. We might see that in the game. And the only other one just within the framework of what we're seeing here, if United are going to sit back and it's going to be Liverpool's job to unpick that, then Gini Wijnaldum's just come back off the back of internationals. He's fantastic, scored one particular outstanding goal for the Dutch, but he's played a lot of football in that time, and Jordan Henderson's played a lot in that time, which might unbalances what we do in terms of the physical endeavour. So there's a possibility he's fit, he's been at Melwood all the international break, is maybe Naby Keita comes into the midfield for Wijnaldum, potentially for Henderson, although I think more likely Gini, because he tends to play on the left hand side, and he gives you that extra guy pushing on. He becomes the fourth attacker when you need it.
So in attack, it'd almost become a 4-2-3-1.
Well, you find a lot of time because Firmino will drop in to win the ball. We saw this a couple of times last season, not loads because Keita didn't really settle properly. He didn't have a great run of games with full fitness. We saw it against Tottenham Hotspur away from home. Firmino drops into the sort of more around the halfway line. He releases the ball, and all of a sudden you've got Keita, Mane, and Salah. You've still got 3 to attack, so that's a possibility. But I periodically do the starting 11 prediction on the Redmen YouTube channel, and if I was a betting man, I would go with what has been the tried and tested so far, and that's Wijnaldum, Fabinho, Henderson.
It is the beauty you guys have at the moment is you know who's playing, you know pretty much what the 11 is going to be. You know your front three's that. You know your goalkeeper when he's fit is going to be Alisson. Van Dijk's in there, Robertson, Trent. You always know. And with United at the moment, we've just been chopping and changing everything. And it's difficult to pick an 11. And it's a luxury you have when you've got a winning team. You don't really need to change anything. There's not enough pressure. And like I said, Klopp's.
And we still, bear in mind, we've still got the likes of Shaqiri there he hasn't had a kick, but he was fantastic off the bench against you guys at Anfield last season. Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain's really just starting to ease him back into regular action. So he's a possibility. I mean, we're not going to see it away at Old Trafford, not from the start, but one day we might well see it for Fabinho, Keita, Oxlade-Chamberlain midfield.
Right then, we've looked at the big one this weekend, Manchester United, Liverpool. Let's have a brief look at the other fixtures that are coming up. First one this weekend, return of international football for Premier League, is Everton, West Ham, 12:30pm kickoff. And
much pressure on the Blues for this one. I think they put a lot of pressure last week on the Burnley game. They're talking about Marco Silva's future. It's the heavy discussion, is he the right man in charge? West Ham is not the team you want to face, because I think psychologically, Evertonians consider Everton, and rightly so, by the way, to be a much bigger club than West Ham, which is no disrespect to West Ham, just Everton have historically won more trophies and what have you. But West Ham are really good at the moment. They've got some really good players. They've got a much better manager, I think, as well. There's a lot. It's got all. The best case scenario, I think, is probably for Everton is probably a draw here. I don't think they're going to win.
It's a weird one. I'd give it to I would never. You'd think the home team would usually have the advantage, but West Ham and Everton, when they're at home, usually when you expect them to win, occasionally don't. And I just feel like West Ham may be silencing.
I think there's a lot of pressure on, as I say, in that game, and I wouldn't put it past West Ham getting all 3 points. As I say, I think a draw for Everton would. I don't think they would agree with me, but I think if Marco Silva wants to keep his job, he needs to not lose that game.
And what might be a little bit of a theme this week, a lot of games are can't really call them. Aston Villa versus Brighton, I think, is another one of those. Again, you'd probably say Villa with the home advantage. You know, they've been playing football, scoring goals.
Yeah.
But Brighton under Potter, coming in off that victory over Spurs, they're looking good.
Villa, I think we'll know a lot about where Villa are going to wind up this season from this game. Because I have Brighton tipped early on to be one of the teams to be in real relegation trouble. Right. And I've always had a soft spot for Villa, you know, proper old school, top flight team. And they've done reasonably well so far, haven't they? But if they can go and get 3 points, I think that kind of tells you. The message is sent there is saying they're looking for Brighton's spot in the league, in my opinion, for the next season or two to be one of those clubs between sort of like 9th and 15th, 16th in the league, just to establish themselves. And if you can get a win over Brighton, like I say, it sets you up really well. I mean,
they've won some of their home, like they beat Everton at home, but then they've lost against Bournemouth at home. So their home form has been very hit and miss. A victory on Saturday against Brighton, and they'll be looking very good. Bournemouth, Norwich, another one of them. Norwich's form, since they've beat City, is kind of derailed a little bit, but they've got a lot of injuries in their team.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, they're playing DMs at centre back, you know what I mean, and that kind of we've all been in those situations with our club.
That's in the range, isn't it? Yeah, Jose told us.
Yeah. But no, I think this is the problem with Norwich. I think they need to batten down the hatches for a few weeks, get as many men back as possible. And look, again, one of those things. Bournemouth should come out on top in this one, but you never know what you're going to get. Well, you know what you're going to get with Norwich. You're going to get high tempo, high energy, looking to get in behind you, looking to cause problems. I think again the injury thing. I think you can carry through an adrenaline, and when you're playing the big boys, when you're playing Man City, you're playing Liverpool, you're playing United, I think it's easier to get yourself up. It feels like one of those games where Bournemouth will probably just come out with it.
It could just turn into a long day for them, because Bournemouth can keep possession of the ball, they can play great football. And I think it is one of them, either Bournemouth are going to win 4-0 or Norwich are going to sneak a 1-0 win or something like that. It really is one of those games. Chelsea-Newcastle, Steve Bruce, last game, beat Manchester United on their second win of the season.
Yeah.
Chelsea, Frank Lampard's team.
It's Chelsea all day for me. I think there's a difference in quality at the moment between, you know, what Man United are doing and what Chelsea are doing. And I think Chelsea being it.
I'll have you know we beat them 4-0 this season.
You did. And were you the better team in that game?
Yes, we beat them 4-0 this season.
I think Chelsea are much better than Man United at the minute in terms of what they've got, particularly at the other end of the pitch.
I think they're more settled.
Goals. Look, they've got Tammy Abraham and Mason Mount, who are in really, really good form. And I think they'll be too much for Newcastle.
Sorry, Stevie. Leicester, Burnley. Another interesting one. Burnley have the ability to keep a clean sheet. Leicester have the ability to score a lot of goals. Who will come out on top?
Yeah, this is the kind of team that Brendan Rodgers, from my understanding and my memories of Brendan Rodgers, will struggle against. I think Leicester have actually got a little bit more gnarl to them than his Swansea team did and than his Liverpool team did in the early days. So Leicester should always on paper come out on top of this one, but I think that's a really interesting test.
It's a tough game because obviously Sean Dyche will have something up his sleeves in terms of tactically. He'll know how to probably try and close them down and tighten up them gaps that Leicester City try and work in.
It's not a turf moor. If you're at home in this game, you should be taking all 3 points. If they want to cement that top 4 place, particularly given some of the other fixtures going on, it's a big opportunity for Leicester.
In a word, do you think Leicester? Yeah, you predicted them to finish top 4, right?
Not at the start of the season, but now that I've seen it, I think they've got as good a chance as anyone, mate. Because I think there's so much disarray in United, Chelsea. Spurs have shocked me. I guess we might as well talk about them now.
Yeah.
I mean, talk about your
Watford.
Best possible of the big 6, so to speak. Tottenham are the best team Watford could possibly have at this weekend. If you had to pick one of them to come up against, Spurs are the right one because you just don't know what's going to happen with them. They're on the verge of, they could just turn up and batter Watford and everything's all of a sudden fine and they're kicking back on towards top 4. But there's been some disarray. You know, Watford could really do with getting their season on track.
Okay, they do need a victory under. I know they had the initial little jolt and they drew with Arsenal and all that, but they haven't been getting the results. No. And it wouldn't surprise me if they chop manager again before Christmas. It's just the kind of club.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, look, Spurs should absolutely wipe the floor with Watford because I think on the flip of what I've just said there, coming back off the international break, looking to dust themselves down, pick themselves up, start fresh, Watford are probably the team you'd choose because they're absolutely.
But there does seem to be real problems at Spurs. Like I can't put my finger, but there does just seem to be.
Yeah, I think
since that Champions League final, like it's just all gone.
I think we'll know, won't we? I think once they get used to get back into the swing of playing midweek, weekend, etc., which does, this is the time of season where good teams drop points in the league because you're fighting on 2 fronts so extensively. I think psychologically they are a little bit wounded. I'm not sure how Potter's commitment, but look, if they get 3 points, a comfortable 3 points, which they're more than capable of, no one's talking about Spurs.
I said Watford, obviously chop and change managers and could do again. Do you think Poch will be at Spurs at the start of next season?
Nah, I think he's at this time, hasn't he? I think he's done all.
United?
He should have been. He should be at United now, mate. United missed a massive opportunity there, and so no, I don't think he'll be at Spurs for too much longer.
Wolves, Southampton. Obviously, Wolves would think this is they've had some big victories. I mean, they went away to Besiktas and won, which isn't an easy thing to do.
This is a low key, really interesting clash because I've been really impressed with Southampton so far. I thought they really gave a good accounting of themselves at St Mary's against Liverpool early in the season. Great work rate, great endeavour. They've added a couple of decent players to that side as well. Wolves again should home advantage, similar styles, can cause problems. It wouldn't shock me to see this be
I just
a draw.
feel like Southampton lack goals.
Yeah,
like,
I mean,
they haven't really got that.
Yeah.
They've got a few players that can cause you problems, and obviously will pop up with a goal.
Well, if the goalkeeper wants to hold on to the ball for a stupid amount of time, we know Danny Ings loves capitalising on that. It's the only way he scored this season. But look, Wolves again because they should have superior quality, should come out on top. But I personally wouldn't be surprised to see Southampton take something from the game.
Right, and the 5:30 kickoff on Saturday is Palace against Manchester City. Now, Palace beat Manchester City at the Etihad last season. Big 3 points for them there. Can they do it at Selhurst Park this weekend? I've got a feeling that they may take a point at the very least. You are just saying that. You're just saying that?
I am. Because the smart money. Look, the smart money's on Manchester City to win every game. They should turn up there. Crystal Palace will give them a game. But look, Man City have had a couple of weeks to kind of lick the wounds and look at the league table and think, hang on a second, this isn't for us. They need to start closing the gap, and particularly because they play before Liverpool and Liverpool United game. They'll want to have that gap down to 5 points, and they'll want the pressure to be put back on to Liverpool. So we're not just, because it'd be a double kick in the teeth, really. Crystal Palace can cause them problems, but the only way Crystal Palace caused them, if you remember that game, it's a bolt from the blue. It's like Andros Townsend battering one in from 30 yards. Yeah, that's how City are going to lose games. So it's possible, but I think it's not. It's again on the law of averages.
Off, it being dark, under the floodlights.
Hey, listen, I'm bored. I would love that. I love that story. It's a lovely story, and it's a world I want to live in.
It's a world I don't want to live in.
Man City are probably going to win that about.
Because having said that about this, I do think the gap between these two might stretch.
If Man City, if Palace can keep it close, if they can keep it within a goal. Going into the final 10 minutes, you never know. But City will do what City do. They'll come out and they'll try to blitz them in the first half an hour. And if they get blitzed, then it's game over, and that could be a cricket score. Right, it's the only way Palace survive.
We discussed the United-Liverpool game in depth, but we never got a prediction. So just a prediction from me for this one.
I think Liverpool will win 1-0.
I'm going to go 1-1.
Okay.
I somehow think we're going to just really jam a draw.
VAR. Penalty decision.
Like last season where we just somehow got a draw. Players dropping all over the place.
Yeah.
Somehow we got a draw. Monday night football. Good game that for Monday night football at Bramall Lane.
Yeah.
8 p.m. kickoff. Sheffield United against Arsenal. Are Arsenal going to fancy it?
It's a classic mid-90s Premier League game, that, isn't it? Like, you know what I mean? Where you want to see the wind swirling around Bramall Lane, threatening to suck the ball into the goal.
It's one of them where you just know Wenger's team would crack up, wouldn't they?
I think the best Arsenal can get out of that game is going to be a draw. I think having seen Sheffield United up close and personal a couple of weeks ago, I think they're a really good outfit.
Well, isn't he?
He is, and particularly at home, it's just I don't think Arsenal are quite there yet. Look, Aubameyang's class, isn't he? And he has the ability to win any football match.
He was the difference between us. I think if we had Aubameyang and we played Arsenal, we win that game.
Okay.
And I think he was really the big difference, and I think that is the difference between us and them. They've got goals in there.
Well, that's
at the moment we're struggling.
A 20-plus goal a season centre-forward papers over a lot of cracks. It's just that I think Sheffield United I think they're a better team unit than people give them credit for. I think people go, there might be an agricultural side or whatever, because we just naturally Sheffield United, Yorkshire,
Sheffield Steel.
Exactly. And, they come from the Championship and all that kind of stuff. And they've got an English manager and all that. Nah, I think Sheffield United will give Arsenal a real bloody nose on Monday night.
Yeah, I think they're going to win 1-0.
At least.
Which will cheer me up after I've watched United probably lose against Liverpool. Before you go, Paul, we've obviously got the fabled Squawka challenge. Last time I was on, I registered I'm not counting that, 2 guys on one thing. That's just, I'm top of the league. Chris is second. You're third. Can you get here?
I don't need to get... Well, now that I know you're there, to be fair, I do. I just need to get above this fella here, who I know literally only learned enough to beat me.
I've heard a rumor he came in with just exactly as many as he needed to beat you.
He's an effective man and lover in that regard. Like, you know what I mean? Just ticks the boxes, does what he needs to. Look, anything I can do to get above Pajak, I'm bang up for it.
Right then, let's do this. You've chose to risk your score. You've gambled. Oh, I've always wanted to say that. You've gambled, right? You've gambled your 8. You're gonna go for more. We want to know how many Portuguese teams you can name in 60 seconds, and we are starting now.
Okay. Gil Vicente, Santa Clara, Rio Ave, Aves, Setúbal, Vitória, Braga, Boa Vista, Sporting, Porto, Benfica.
You've got 30 seconds left, and you are currently level with me.
I know one more. I definitely know one more. How long have I got?
20.
Oh, loads of time.
Seconds
Come
left.
on, Paul, you can do this. I've said Rio. I've said Rio, haven't I? I've said Aves.
You said Aves.
I said Braga, Boa
12
Vista.
seconds. You've said Boa Vista.
Did I say Braga?
Yeah.
Oh, Maritimo.
You got 6 seconds left. You don't want to keep going? Time is up. You've literally done a Chris Pajak on me, haven't you? You've literally come in, and he has got 12 right on the nose. 12 there for.
Which, if you divide their score by the number of people.
Yeah, you did well. You did well. I'm second, and Scouse is top of the league again. But before we go, thanks again to The Athletic for sponsoring this video. Visit theathletic.co.uk/Squawka to start a 7-day free trial and receive 50% off your yearly subscription. So it works out at just £2.50 a month. If you do that, you'll hear more from their world-class writers like David Ornstein, Andy Mitten and James Pearce. So make sure you're getting on that. Keep it locked to Squawka. Like, comment, share and subscribe. And we're out.